Yo, people, yo, people, yo, people. What you saying? What you spraying? We're back again with another stream. Yeah. And it's the very first edition of a new show I thought I would do called About the Fan, where basically I'm going to be talking to loads of fans that you see across the YouTube, and maybe some of them you don't see across the YouTube. But I feel like we talk enough about footballers, we talk enough about football clubs. I thought it's time that we start talking about some of the fans, because all of you lot are so invested in all of them, me, myself included, that I thought it would be good just to learn a bit more about them and obviously learn a bit more about their club, because, you know, for instance, right now, I'm not a Liverpool fan, innit? So I'm not really the guy to tell you about Liverpool and all them things there. But the guest that will be coming on the show, he's definitely the guy, innit? And obviously, you know, y'all know him, yeah. He's got a banging channel. You know, I won't lie. There's some nice people. Don't get me wrong. You know, they definitely decided to support the wrong team. But you know, we respect them. We love them anyway, innit? The only thing I will say is, unfortunately for this show, I won't be able to do my usual thing where I go through all of the chats, because obviously of the structure of the show, I am going to be dropping this as an audio podcast on Spotify. But any questions that you do have for Cal that you really want answered, just send through a super chat. And at the end, I'll go through anything that does come through. But obviously, you know, let's bring through our guest, man like Cal.
Come on, my bro.
How you doing, man? How you doing?
Not too bad, man. Thanks for the introduction. Thanks for having me on the channel as well, bro. Appreciate it. And look, I know you just gave us our flowers, but I've got to give you your flowers as well. Bro, you're doing great things, man. Channel's growing nicely, and keep doing what you're doing, man.
We're trying, man. We're trying.
You're doing more than trying, bro. You're doing more than trying.
I tell people, yeah, like there was a time where like I was the guy just, you know, sitting on the sofa watching like all of you people, and I was like, you know what, yeah, man, this shit easy, man. Yeah, man. I'm gonna get a camera, I'm gonna get a mic, and I'm just gonna jump on and just talk about Arsenal. And I tell you what, this is easily the most mentally draining thing that I've ever done in my life. Like the way that I've had to now support Arsenal a bit differently is crazy, because no matter what, I've got to watch the game when it's on. No matter what, I have to watch all of the press conferences. No matter what, I need to read all of the news. There really is no days off. Like, and you know, it's cool for you, innit? Because your team's high flying, you know, doing bits, and my club is I mean, we're not talking about my club today, innit?
Yeah, I reckon you'll still be fine this season, though. Like, it's not going to be a catastrophe or anything. You'll still be fine this season.
Fingers crossed, fingers crossed, fingers crossed. But people, you know what to do. Yeah, dash them kunais. Yeah, at the like button. Target practice. We got to hit our targets. You know, let's try and get as many people into this stream as possible. Make sure you're subscribing to Team Coppish. They are in the title. And make sure that you're subscribing to myself. So look, before we get into anything, obviously, because this is going to be on Spotify as well, I guess just introduce yourself briefly, and I guess tell the people where they can find you if they want to, I guess, dive a bit more into all that you're doing.
Nice one, bro. So yeah, Callum Sanderson. So on X or Twitter or Instagram, I'm just at Callum Sanderson. So I've been doing Coppish with Matt and Drift now since 2019. We started it. Matt and Drift had a channel previously called the Football Banter Show, and then decided to rebrand and asked me to join the team. So I joined in 2019. Since then, we've been working together doing Liverpool content and football content. I also have a combat channel, which I'm sort of diversifying into doing interviews on there as well, called The Sanderson Show. So I'm doing that as well. And recently gone full-time doing content creation, which is a very daunting thing. And as you said, that I think a lot of people take for granted, is very mentally draining. There's a lot going on with it. And I think people sometimes will just see us on the screen and think, oh, that's not too bad. And they're only speaking for an hour. I can tell you, bro, I did 2 streams this morning before this one. I've been at my desk from 9 o'clock. I did the school run, dropped the kids to school, came back, kissed my little baby on the forehead, and I was straight in my office working, doing thumbnails, promos, Insta stories, looking at any other breaking news. So I think that's the one thing people who aren't in the industry probably don't appreciate as much. And then even after shows as well, seeing how the show's done, seeing if there's any other shows that need to be done the same day, which obviously you're experiencing yourself now. But I'm also going to be honest, it's a very good thing to be doing as well. Like I feel blessed to be in a position to do this. Obviously, as your channel grows, people start to recognize you when you're out and about. I don't know if you've had that already,
Yeah,
but
it happened. It happened already. So like only
exactly.
like even before I started doing like live streams on my channel, obviously I was like pretty much a regular on Never a Foul and pretty much a regular on Big Six Bands. And one time I went to this shopping center somewhere deep in Enfield, and I'm walking with my brother to the Marks and Spencers, and one of the guys that was working outside stopped me and was like, "Yo, you're that guy from that does all the football YouTube stuff." And I was like, "Whoa."
Yeah,
Whoa,
humbling,
like,
isn't it?
it's crazy humbling. And then even only Tuesday, I went to the Rivals Tears event. Yeah. And I was going there as a fan. So, like, from my perspective, I'm going to see like Troops, Expressions, Steve, Turkish, Grizz, Saeed, like all of these people. And then I get into the venue, and then there's brothers that are stopping me and like, "Oh, Hawks, I watch you on League Gunn's channel, this brother's channel." Oh, and then they start talking to me, and they're like, "Oh, like, why is it like whenever you go on a stream, it's like 5-man versus you?" And I'm like, "Bro, it's the burden that I have to carry as an Arsenal fan, in it." And I'm sure there's many burdens that, you know, different fans have to carry, but my burden is definitely everybody just always wants to attack you, and usually, you know, usually it's because, you know, like the people can probably tell, you know, you don't sound like you're from Liverpool. You're from London. And
I am,
obviously you would have grown up, you know, hella Arsenal people around you through the era of Henry and Bergkamp and Wright, and you know, we was putting everybody in spliffs, and you just kind of not build up a hatred, but like I feel like if you went through the era of Arsenal being good while you was in school, it just hit differently. It actually just
I hate Man United as well. That's why I hate Man United. Arsenal, Man United. So it's weird. I don't hate Arsenal as much as I hate Man United. But my Arsenal friends, my Arsenal fan friends, they give me the most grief. Like, I know if we lose a game to Arsenal, they're unbearable. But they're also some of the most lovely people in the world. So it's like they're yin and yang. It's mad.
Yeah, no, I don't get me wrong. I'm learning. Well, I've learned very quickly that Arsenal fans are quite. Yeah, they're I don't associate myself with all of them. You know what I mean? Like I've like, especially the ones on Twitter. The ones on Twitter say some of the wildest things that I have ever seen in my life. In it, so they're not. I'm not part of them. You know what I mean?
I know.
I always tell people I'm a part of them. I'm a Hawks. You know, a lot of people say I'm Rivals' favorite Arsenal fan because I'm quite level-headed. So I'm staying in my bag somewhere in the middle, and all those kind of polarized, crazy fans, go and salute them. Just don't salute me in it. You know, the way that. All right. So you know what? As a quick opener, a quick opener question. Yeah, you've got Klopp's Liverpool. Yeah, this is a mysterious world. Yeah, Klopp's Liverpool is gonna be facing Slot's Liverpool. Yeah, who wins that game and why? And which Liverpool are you supporting?
Oh, okay. Can I ask a question back before I answer it?
Go for it.
Which version of Klopp's team is it? Klopp's prime team, or this version of this version of Slot's team, or is it Klopp's last? Like which bit of Klopp is it?
Let's go with the Klopp team that won the Premier League.
Oh, and in this Slot team, I'll be honest, I think I may have to go with the Klopp team. I prefer how Slot structures a game and how we set up and how we approach games, whether it be before games or in games. But that Klopp team that won the league was crazy. And I think the main difference in the two teams are the fact of those players were at absolutely the peak of their powers. Like I look at Salah. Salah's still the guy for me, but that version of Salah was crazy. I look at left wing. Diaz and Gakpo have both been good this season, but Sadio Mane was a whole nother level. Like whole nother level. Nunez and Jota, they're both good. Bobby Firmino, a whole nother level. Fabinho, even Gravenberch. Gravenberch has been so good this season. But Fabinho in the midfield was crazy. Even I know, and here's the thing, I know rival fans, when I mention this next person's name, will always laugh and be like, yeah, he's not that guy. I'll be the first to say, technically, pretty average. But as a leader, as someone who was tactically astute and could take a game by the scruff of the neck if needed, Jordan Henderson was massively important to that Liverpool team as well. And then Gini Wijnaldum for me is the unsung hero, where he did all the dirty work and popped up with clutch goals. And he only really got his flowers when he did what he did against Barcelona. But if you'd watched Gini from the moment we signed him to the moment he left, he was integral for Liverpool. So I love what Slot's doing. I love what the team's doing at the moment. But that Klopp team is probably the best team I've seen in my lifetime.
The reason why,
from a Liverpool standpoint, not overall.
I definitely hear that. The reason why I drew that comparison is because you lot literally started that season flying out of the traps. Like you guys literally punched up everybody. Yeah. And don't get me wrong, you're not quite punching up teams in the same way. But this is another very strong start. And I mean, barring the loss that no one expected to Nottingham Forest, which I guess at this point now you can kind of chalk off as a blip because it didn't really impact you. And the draw to Arsenal at the Emirates, which I guess now that you look back on it, you would probably say, okay, draw at the Emirates is pretty good. Pretty good.
We were lucky to get that draw, though.
See, you say that, but if I say that, I'm a hater.
No, I say it straight. I'm quite similar to you. I have my shameless moments, but I get grilled a lot in the Liverpool fan base by saying I glaze other teams and all this. I just, as a football fan before I was a Liverpool fan. If I see something, I think it's right to be objective about it rather than just being tribalistic all the time. Like, I think we were lucky to get a point against Arsenal, and at the time, even now I take the point. By the time going into the game, I think we should have attacked the game properly to try and get 3 points. But coming out of the game, we were very lucky to get a point.
Hey, you heard it first from the Liverpool fans. So now when I say this going forward, I can say I'm only saying what Cal said.
So fact.
People can't hate on me no more. You know them way there. So do you think that, because obviously I feel like Klopp and Slot play very similar football. The only kind of difference that I would say is Klopp is chaos all the time, whereas Slot is very measured. But the moments when he needs chaos to happen and you guys spot moments when you can ignite that chaos, you go full throttle. And Cal has he did warn me about this prior. He's saying he's having problems with his laptop. So in and out of this. He's back. He's back.
Apologies.
Yeah, that's the first time. No, it's cool. You let me know about it before. It's fine. So basically when you need to ignite the chaos, you ignite it in such a frightening way. Like, I'll be so honest. Like, I was watching the game against Aston Villa, and literally in that second half, whenever they had a corner, I was saying prayers for the Aston Villa team because you guys switched it on crazily. Yeah. And it kind of like not woke me up a bit, but it made me realize that we was actually quite lucky in a sense that we didn't see that at the Emirates. But I firmly believe that is what we're going to see at Anfield. So I guess taking that into consideration, do you think that Slot's Liverpool and Slot's style of play could take advantage of, I guess, how chaotic Klopp is all the time?
Absolutely. I think you've summed up perfectly. If I was to compare it to fighters, Klopp's Liverpool team was a fighter who was just gung-ho, gung ho, always on the front foot, looking to land big punches, big kicks. Whereas Slot's team, as you said, they pick and choose. So they might lull you into a little false sense of security, but the moment they sniff any sort of weakness, they're onto you. I think from a fan perspective, Klopp's football is more entertaining, but from a Liverpool perspective, well, in fact, I'll only speak for myself. It was very frustrating sometimes because I'm looking at games sometimes, I'm thinking, let's just seal this up, man. I don't need a 4-3 game today. I just want a 2-0 easy win. And I think we're getting that more with Slot. And I think the benefit to Slot ball over Klopp ball is by March time, Liverpool really started to struggle from a physical standpoint because he had put so much effort into the months leading up to it. Whereas with Slot ball, I feel as though because of the more measured approach, when we get to the Aprils, the Mays, where it's the business end of the season, I think the players will be a little bit more fresh to be able to take us over the line. But Slot is doing great things. As I said as well, the way he manages things technically and tactically in games as well, and he's able to sort of adapt on the fly. I think that's what separates him from other managers at the moment. It's probably the reason why we went in for him as well.
Yeah, 100%. And obviously, you've said which team you think is winning, but which Liverpool are you supporting? You're in the ground. Are you shouting and screaming and singing for Klopp, or are you shouting, screaming, and singing for Slot?
Yeah, it's Klopp, man. Again, I came under a lot of criticism last season because I was calling out Klopp a lot for some of the stuff he was doing, and I think people saw that as Cal wants Klopp out or Cal hates Klopp. Bro, when I tell you Klopp is my favorite manager of all time, past or present, like the love I've got for that guy because he brought Liverpool back. I'd never seen my team win the Premier League in my lifetime. He made that happen. I'd seen Champions League, but I'd never seen a comeback like the Barcelona game, like the Borussia Dortmund game. And I'd never seen my team go crazy in the Premier League where they've run away with it, where it was wrapped up in January pretty much. He did that. So I will forever be grateful for Klopp. And if Klopp wasn't stubborn and he was able to adapt his approach, I'd never have wanted Klopp to leave. But I also will say I think he left at the right time because I think sometimes you can stick around long enough to become the villain. And I think that could have happened this season if he didn't go. So it was a heavy heart when he left, but I think it was the right time.
I guess my take on Klopp leaving is, well, it's a weird one. So I think the only real reason he had to leave is because of the fact that FSG doesn't really back Liverpool, or I guess better to say back their managers in the way that they should. Because I feel like Klopp's ball is proven in the Prem. I would say it's probably proven in football at this point. The only issue that I see with it is it's a brand of football that every 2 to 3 years, you need to be getting rid of key players and bringing in new key players. Otherwise, you do get the burnout. Otherwise,
this is why you're the guy, Hooks, bro. This is why you're the guy, bro.
People think that I just do the banter and you get me the slewing and all that. But when I want to, be a bit more calm and actually get rid of the kind of the trolley side of me, I can actually appreciate a lot of things.
Nah, you know your stuff, man.
So I would say that's kind of the for me at least, like the biggest issue. And I think that's kind of, maybe he realized that. Maybe he realized that he was going to go into the next season without the correct support. And he's probably looking at his players and going, there's too many areas of weakness right now. And you know what? Maybe it's just best that, I step aside, have a bit of a rest, go on to pastures new, and I guess let someone else take the reign at Liverpool and I guess take them forward. Because maybe he felt that, with these set of players, I don't think I can do much more than what I've done already. But then even though I did kind of slew FSG, I kind of have to give them props because it's very rare that you see, I guess, a kind of like an ownership go, okay, this worked really well. Let's try and find someone as close to this person as possible so we don't have to go through a rebuild. We don't have to go through like starting a new process. Like Arsenal. Arsenal went from Wenger to Emery, who I would say like they're vastly apart, like in terms of like their philosophies on football and the way that they play and the brand of player that they like. And I guess you could kind of argue with Arteta coming in, it's well, at first I thought it was going back to like similar to the Wenger way.
Yeah.
But now I'm starting to think, okay, he's kind of looking a bit more like a Jose Mourinho. So do you know what I mean? So I have to give FSG them props. All right, cool. So a bit of a bulky one. So tell me about your journey as a Liverpool fan. How did it start? Why did you choose Liverpool? And I guess, was there a moment in your journey as a Liverpool fan where you questioned that decision?
Oh, sick question again. So how I became a Liverpool fan. So I'd say I started supporting Liverpool when I was about 4. The first game I'd watched live or watched as a child from start to finish was Liverpool versus Arsenal when Fowler scored the hat-trick in 4 minutes. So before that, my brother's older than me. He's 11 years older than me, and he's the first person I ever looked up to in life. And I love my brother to bits. Like, we're like best friends, innit? So like, he supports Liverpool as well, but he's not like a massive football guy. But like, he would mention them. So obviously, me being that little kid who looks up to his older brother, you'd hear Liverpool be mentioned. So it was always at the back of my mind. When I watched that game and I saw what Fowler was doing, I was just like, okay, that's Fowler's my guy. And then I saw McManaman as well. I was like, oh, that's my guy as well. And then Owen broke through and I was like, yeah, this is my team. So from the age of 4, I was like, I knew I supported them. But then as I got older and started to understand football a bit more, I was like, yeah, this is definitely my team. And then obviously the influence of John Barnes, my family's Jamaican, got Jamaican roots all through me. So it's like, you hear about the stories of John Barnes, and even like family members who aren't Liverpool fans, they're still speaking about John Barnes in high regard and speaking about that Liverpool team with Aldridge and Beardsley and all them guys. And it's like, yeah, this is my team, man. And have I ever questioned being a Liverpool fan? Honestly, no, I haven't. I'd consider myself quite a loyal person, sometimes to a fault, but I'm a very loyal person. If I'm in, I'm in. Unless like I think the only thing that could stop me being a Liverpool supporter is if any sort of like crazy allegations about them came out that were proven to be true, like something to do with like race or stuff like that. Otherwise, yeah, I'll ride it out, man. Like, I get how football is now. I'm old enough to know that you have your peaks and your low points. God willing, I don't have too many more low points because I don't know if my heart can take it at this age. But like, football for me is a big part of my life. And I think growing up, without going too much in my story, my dad weren't about in it, but like me having 2 younger sons now, and I'm able to take them football on a Saturday morning. And bro, I kid you not, bro, I sit there sometimes, I'm like, I feel really privileged. I'm able to sit there and just watch my kids play a little bit of football. Do you know what I mean? And they're only they're 5 and 3 years old, so it's not even like they're kicking ball at a mad level or anything. But I just love football. I can be in any room. If I hear football in the background, I'm like, where's the TV? And it's like, and I think I've made some of my best friends through football. Like, bruv, we're friends because of football. I think people sleep on that. Like, I can walk into a room full of strangers. If I hear someone speaking about football, I'm like, we've got a common ground here. So I think,
you know, that there's, regardless of anything else, like the personality of the person, their other interests, the background they come from, their life story. You just know, if we was to sit down in that moment, we can form a connection based off of football. And then obviously, I guess once you start talking about the football, you find out, okay, I don't know if I quite like this person because this person, he's talking a bit of rubbish. But usually, you know, do you know what I kind of, do you know what's a kind of like a kind of big kind of footballing kind of like experience for me is obviously I grew up in North London. So Edmonton, Tottenham, those kind of areas. And when I was young, I would always go to barbers in Tottenham, innit? And literally, whenever you go into the West Indian barbers, them man, they're cutting your hair, but they're taking like an hour longer than what they should do because they're all just talking about what happened in the football. They're all talking about it, and it's like and like when you're a kid, so when you're a kid, like your attention span is like crazy low, and you're just like, come on, man, hurry up, man. I was so long. But as you get older, you know, I say maybe into your teen years, because you're kind of fully locked into football as well.
Yeah.
It's like you're listening to the elders kind of preach, and you're taking in the knowledge of what they're saying, and it's like, oh yeah, I watched that game, and then maybe you get involved in the conversation. And I think a lot of people
because of what you're saying, I look forward to going to the barbers for that now.
Exactly. And a lot of people may not get it because I don't know, because obviously I don't really know too much about what I would assume the same thing kind of happens wherever there's like Caribbean people inside of like England or the UK, but I'm not so sure how that kind of translates to like people abroad. And I don't know how that culture, I would imagine maybe so with a different sport, but really like I don't think people understand how big like the West Indian like community is inside of football. And I mean, you've already mentioned it with the likes of John Barnes, and like he brought in like a big wave of like West Indians into supporting Liverpool. And then obviously you have the likes of like Ian Wright, David Rocastle, like and then not really, well, I mean, not really Jamaican, but Henri brought in a massive wave of like black fans into Arsenal, and literally now to the point like Arsenal specifically, like the roots are so deep into like black culture that like you'll go to Notting Hill Carnival and virtually everybody's wearing an Arsenal top. Literally, like it just and for me that's something that I don't know, me like obviously I'm only half. But for me, that's something like that community aspect and that kind of cultural aspect for me to be able to acknowledge that in my football club, that let's have it right. Like outside of our family and maybe a few of our like closest friends, it's the longest relationship that we have in life. You know that. It's probably the first thing you're married to if you're like through sickness and health. Hey, when I've been in great health, when I've been sick, I've been an Arsenal fan. Till death do us part. I'll be an Arsenal fan till I die. You'll be a Liverpool fan until you die. So it's literally the first thing you're married to. And you know, I think like it says a lot about your character to have like never really questioned, I guess, your faith in your support of your club, because I mean, let's be honest, like there was probably a massive period of your life where you was just so eager for the Premier League, like you just hungry for starving for the Premier League. Like you seen your team win what people regard as the biggest honor in club football multiple times. But it's like you're probably having conversation with your Manchester United friends and your Arsenal friends, and then maybe even your Chelsea friends, and they're saying, "Hey, man, where's that Prem?" Like you can't really talk to us until you have that. And especially the Manchester United fans, they're like, "Yeah, you've won the Champions League, but so have we." So for you to not waver, that's insane. Like I don't think I've completely wavered, but there was a period, I would say, towards the latter part of Wenger's career, where I was like, I've kind of had enough. Like, and I was like, you know what? Bun Arsenal, bun football. I'm gonna go and watch basketball. And then literally within like missing 2 Arsenal games,
I was you back in, innit?
Oh, okay, no, cool. I'll go back. I'm sorry, Arsenal. I'm sorry. And I'm watching the games that I missed on replay, and I'm like, oh damn, like that. Okay, and I'm fully locked in now. And I think for me, that was a moment where I realized it's only ever gonna be Arsenal for me, innit? So another big question. I'm you know, I thought I've put a lot of point into these questions, and
I love this stuff. I love this sort of stuff, man.
So what moment do you think most resonates with you as a Liverpool fan? What sticks the most? And kind of paint us the picture of that moment.
Oh, another bloody good question. I think I'd have to answer in different phases of my life, if I'm going to be honest, bro. So, like, sort of from the age of 4, maybe up until like my early teens, I'd probably say the Champions League run in 2005, because I don't think anyone gave us a chance to win it. I certainly didn't think we'd win it. And then as you get deeper into the competition, you're thinking, okay, maybe we can do it. But then you get AC Milan in the final and you're thinking, I remember looking at AC Milan's team sheet before the game started, and I just thought, how are we winning this game? Like, going into the final, I was like, we're winning the game. I just don't know how. And then when we went 3-0 down, I was watching the game with my brother. My brother's two best friends. One's a Liverpool fan, one's an Arsenal fan. But the Arsenal fan's like you, innit? He's very level-headed, very calm. And he was just like, he literally said, he was like, I did not expect them to blow you out of the water like this. I thought you'd lose, but I didn't expect it to be this bad. But I went upstairs and I went and put I think I had a Liverpool blanket at the time, wrapped the Liverpool blanket around me, come back downstairs, and I just said to them, I was like, we're not losing. Obviously, I'm the kid in the room, innit? So they're like, all right, Cal. Like, like, okay. And bro, when we come back to 3-3, I just turned to him, I said, there's something just telling me we're not losing today. And then when we won, it was just like, wow, like we weren't meant to win that. And that for me was when football really hit me, was like, anything can happen in this sport. Usually you have your betting favorites for a reason, but anything on any day can happen in this sport. And then I'd say as I got older, I'd say Klopp's reign, that really changed how I looked at football and how I looked at Liverpool, because I think under Hodgson, even under Brendan, I think those managers were quite disconnected from the club. Kenny came in for a little bit and galvanized, but Kenny wasn't at his peak when he was Liverpool manager, and was a bit out of sorts as well. And when Klopp came in, I was just like, nah, this is my club now. And I think you'll speak to a lot of Liverpool fans who really got in deep with the Klopp like reign and era. We became very tribalistic to the point where it's like, you can't even speak about Klopp, and like we're at your neck. And like, I look at it and I think the power he had to do that, because when we speak about Klopp, it's similar how I think you guys speak about Wenger. Didn't win the most amount of Prems, didn't win the Champions League. Same with Klopp, won a Champions League, won a Prem, but one of each. But what they did to change the philosophy in and around the club and everything, I think is bigger than just their trophy haul. And I think that's what outside fans won't get. Just like Liverpool fans will criticize Wenger for not winning the Champions League, Arsenal fans will criticize Klopp for not winning more Prems. But ultimately, the two fan bases, they love those two members of the history because of the way they changed everything. So those are the points in my life where I was like, and Liverpool resonates with me as well, because growing up in South London and single parent home, like typically you're told you look like you got a ceiling in it, like this is your ceiling. Like, thankfully I was a good kid growing up, never got into any trouble or anything like that, got good results at school and stuff like that, so I never brought any trouble to my mum's doorstep. But I still knew I was at a disadvantage to some of my friends who had a 2-parent home and mum's not working all crazy hours to make ends meet. Liverpool resonated with me because it's like, yeah, they're not the most fashionable club, they're not the club that should be winning stuff, but they are still winning. And that kind of inspired me, especially players like Gerrard as well, when he's surrounded by players who ain't that great, but he's still dragging the team through. So stuff like that inspired me. And yeah, this club's just me, man. I just love the club.
And you know what? I think Liverpool as like an institution is very much all about banding together. Like, it's very much about us versus the world. Like, even to the degree where it's like, yeah, when it comes to England playing, it's like, yeah, we're not English, we're Scouse. Like, and I feel like with that kind of strong of a message and that kind of deep of a bond that, you know, the city has with its club, I think it's very easy for people not from Liverpool to buy into that, because it translates very well. Because even if you just think of football commentary, it's kind of like, definitely, if I feel this way, it feels like it's me against the world. It just feels like it's always me against the world. Like, whether it's the people in like the chat that, you know, think I'm chatting rubbish, or the people on panels that are like they support rivals, so it's like they're always going against what I'm saying. Like it always feels like us against, and I feel like I would say with Arsenal, it's not as evident because it's not as clear as it is with Liverpool, with Arsenal, because obviously we're in the heart of England. We're in the capital, but there is kind of that thing with Arsenal where it's like, oh, you South Londoners, you moved over to North London. You're not even from here. You're not originally from here. And obviously you got the Tottenham fans that, tried to pretend that they was in North London before Arsenal. But I know the history, and I know that they weren't actually technically part of North London until after Arsenal. But that's a conversation for another day. That's a conversation for another day.
That's it. That's similar with Liverpool and Everton, right? Because Liverpool hasn't been around as long as Everton's the older club. And Liverpool started because there was fractions within Everton, and then Liverpool branched off from Everton. So we get that from Evertonians as well. We're like, they're called the People's Club, whereas Liverpool aren't called that. So that's where the thing is, as much as Liverpool and Arsenal are at each other's necks and all that, there are a lot of similarities between the two clubs when you actually break it down.
A lot of similarities. And you know what? To be like, don't get me wrong. There's obviously been moments in the history where, for example, we won the league at Anfield. There's
for that, bro.
Yeah.
Quick flex. I see.
There's been times we've met in like domestic cup competitions, and it's gone one way or another, and it's been kind of a big thing. But I feel like, me personally, I don't consider Liverpool a rival, because I feel like whenever Arsenal have been high flying, Liverpool have been down bad. And whenever Liverpool have been high flying, Arsenal have been down bad. So we've never really had the opportunity to clash when both of us are kind of like at the peak of our powers. And even now, when you think about it, like even me, myself included, I expected Arsenal to go into this season high flying, but we're not high flying. But now Liverpool are high flying, and I didn't expect Liverpool to be high. So even now, when like you're high flying, it's like Arsenal's back on the dip again. It's like there's something in the world that just doesn't allow, us two members of the Red Cartel to be kind of big at the same time. So that, I guess that's just my kind of perspective on, because I know like I troll a lot of Liverpool fans, but that's only because like, well, at least the Liverpool fans that I know, they talk a lot. Like, obviously, you got a lot of heritage.
It's like Lee, bro. Lee will tell you, I'm always trolling Lee. Like Gooner Lee, I'm always trolling Gooner Lee. But Lee will tell you as well, he's always trolling me. So it's like there is that in the fan base. Like me personally, I see Arsenal as a competitive rival, but not like a Man United or someone like that. Because look, as much as the fan base can be crazy, as you pointed out as well, I also know some of the Liverpool fan base can be crazy as well. So it's like I can't just always get the Arsenal fan base, not get the Liverpool fan base sometimes, because we come up with some crazy stuff, myself included. Like as football fans, we do that. So I see you as a competitive rival, like you said, but not like I can walk to the Emirates and not feel like I touch wood. I don't think anyone would be like, oh, there's that Callum guy, get him. Like whereas if I went to Man United, it could be very difficult. Could be very.
And before I move on to the next question, just like because you kind of made the comment where you was like, I don't feel like we was meant to win that Champions League final against AC Milan, but this is why I think perspectives is very important, especially in life. Like different viewpoints is a very important thing. Like I would argue the manner in which you won that game, to me, means that you was destined to win that. Because that was a very difficult situation to turn over. Like, and AC Milan, those days, it's not like the AC Milan of today. Like it was like the AC Milan was different, completely different gravy. And for you guys to come from behind, was it a 2-0? Was it 3?
No.
So for you guys to come back from 3 goals down to lift the Champions League, I think you could even argue that might even be one of the greatest, if not the greatest, Champions League final that we've ever witnessed
I think
in our lifetime. Do you know what I mean? Like, obviously, not to try like blow smoke up Liverpool fans' asses, but it is what it is. Like, I can't recall another Champions League final where, you know, probably 99% of people are already thinking about how they're going to be trolling the Liverpool fans that they know the next day, and then Liverpool just go. And I don't know what it was. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's something that the manager said, or maybe it's something that, you know, on the pitch, the players, like, they came back and they're like, no, like, we're winning. Like, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's something in the stars. Maybe it's something mystical. I don't know. But you guys overturned that. And for me, that's just proof that you was always going to win that final.
I agree. We were definitely destined to, but when I look at how the two teams were and everything, when I say I don't think we're meant to, in terms of on paper, we weren't meant to. But I remember even reading at the time back in 2005, there were so many coincidences that were so similar to when we had last won the Champions League. That's probably why I believed it so much. But I also knew at the same time, like, if we beat this AC Milan, it would be crazy as well. But yeah, that I'll never forget that night. Never in my life.
I need one of those nights. Like,
you do. It still baffles me how Arsenal haven't done it yet.
The refs, that Barcelona, we got robbed. I'm not gonna go into it. That Champions League final against Barcelona, we got robbed. Yeah. All right. So, you know, I'm sure a lot of the people in here that, you know, already know, you may already know this, they may not. So Gerrard and Fowler are your favorite Liverpool players of all time.
Yeah, Salah's very close. But
why is that?
Oh, so Fowler was the first person that I came to love as a player, and Gerrard for me is the player that saved Liverpool Football Club and made them who they are today. Because I think without Gerrard in the late 90s and the 2000s, I think we would have fallen away from the pack and we'd be a mid-table team at best now. Fowler for me he was so good as a striker. It just made me fall in love with the sport. So like even now, so I've got two boys and a girl. My two sons, the nicknames I give them is Stevie and Robbie. Like everyone who knows me, who knows them, they'll be like, "Oh, where's Stevie? Where's Robbie?" But that's not their actual names. My missus hates me for it, but it is what it is. Everyone will see them and be like, "Oh, there's Stevie, there's Robbie." And even my little daughter, I call her Alonzo. Imagine calling a little girl Alonzo. Like, so you know, at home it's mad. Like, but like for Gerrard, I think what separates him is he was so far ahead of most of the players in the team, and he could have left Liverpool, arguably should have left Liverpool, but he never did. And every time he crossed that line to play for Liverpool, he left everything on the pitch. If we lost a game, very rarely was it because of Steven Gerrard. If we won a game, very often it was because of Steven Gerrard. And I think that's probably what made me so like enamored with him as a footballer, and the fact that he just produced magical moments. Like we speak about the Champions League final in 2005, he scores that goal and he turns and he jeers up the crowd, like, and you just see the crowd just go, "Yeah, Gerrard said we can do this, we can do it." It's like he was able to have the crowd in the palm of his hand. But I think for Fowler, what maybe resonates to Fowler was just like, he was just like this naughty kid, but was sick at football. So like even when he's doing certain celebrations, you're like, you shouldn't be doing that. But because you're so cheeky and because you're like so lovable, we let you get away with it. But like when he was doing the thing on the touchline and all that, you're like, raw. Like as a kid, I didn't really know what that meant. But as I'm older now, I know what that pertained to. And I was like, raw, that's kind of mad that he did as a celebration. But I also had like, I remember a famous celebration he did where he lifted up his top and it had, you know, the Calvin Klein logo with the small C and the big K.
Yeah.
He had that, but it said Dockers. And at the time, it was basically to do with people losing jobs on the docks. And it's like, he was one of the first I saw use his platform as a footballer to bring awareness to something happening locally. Yeah. And just having that mindset and that thought process to do that for your city, for people that potentially. I thought that was massive. And as a footballer, I personally haven't seen it in the Premier League a better natural finisher. I'm not saying he's the best striker. Henry and Rooney for me, and even Kane for me are the three clear strikers in the Premier League era. Andy Cole deserves a mention as well. But as a natural finisher, I think Fowler's the best I've seen in the Premier League era.
You would put, as a natural finisher, you would put Fowler over the likes of Alan Shearer.
Yeah, as a natural finisher, yeah. Alan Shearer will always get you more volume because Alan Shearer is more available than Fowler. But as a natural finisher, like score goals from anywhere in and around the box, I'm always putting my money on Fowler with both feet as well. I didn't know what foot Fowler was until I got older. Like Fowler was for me that good as a natural finisher.
Fowler was Fowler, I feel like, is a striker that is slept on quite a bit. Like, he's very underrated. And I feel like, part of that I feel is like, was he bigged up enough by everybody when he was actually playing? And then obviously with how the times have moved, I feel like the likes of Rooney, the likes of Henry, the likes of Drogba, like, it's just too fresh in people's minds that, thinking about Fowler is kind of like just never gonna happen. And then I guess when Fowler stopped playing football, he didn't really get like the fame of like a hero who, went into like TV stuff, and like even like the likes of Lineker went into TV stuff, and Henry got into TV stuff. So I feel like he's like a kind of like a forgotten entity to a, like, obviously Liverpool fans of a certain age they're always going to remember Fowler, and they're always going to have him up here. I don't know where they would necessarily put him in comparison to like some of your greats like Ian Rush and Michael Owen.
Like, for me, in my opinion, I think most people have him top three alongside like your Ian Rush, and I think Salah's now in that conversation, even though Salah's not a striker because of his goal scoring. I think people put Salah in that conversation, but in terms of natural finisher, Fowler's way ahead of Salah. Like, I love Salah. Salah's my guy. But if you give them both the ball and it's 1-on-1 with the goalkeeper, Fowler's netting probably 9 times out of 10. Salah's not netting 9 times out of 10. I think that two things I think went against Fowler. I think the fact that Liverpool were really bad when he was in his prime went against Fowler, because it makes people look back and go, well, he didn't win anything pretty much at Liverpool, which is true. He didn't win much. Another thing is, though, I think we forget the greats that were also in his era. Like, even when you just think of English strikers, Les Ferdinand, Andy Cole, Alan Shearer, Sheringham, Chris Sutton, Jermaine Defoe, and then you think of the other outside strikers like your Thierry Henrys, your Drogbas, your Bergkamps, even though he's the second striker, but your Bergkamp still, and like Owen, we had Fowler and Owen at the club at the same time. Owen came through like a wrecking ball. I think that goes against him as well. He's from an era where we were blessed to see strikers. Like, we don't really have a great pool of strikers now. Like, the striker pool is pretty dead now, we'd all agree, innit? Whereas back then, you could have Batistuta, Ronaldo, like Rivaldo, like every team had a killer. You could go through every team, and every team's got someone who on their day could score a hat-trick against you, whereas you don't have that now. It's more of the team share out the goals almost.
Yeah, 100. And I know all about team sharing goals, being an Arsenal fan. And like, we're so allergic to a killer up top there. It's crazy. And you know what? When I think of, and this is just me, I'm not a Liverpool fan, but when I think of Liverpool, the first name that always comes to my head is Gerrard.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a world where someone mentions Liverpool and they don't go Stevie G.
That's like you guys with Henry, right?
Yeah, literally, that's literally what it is. And the one thing, so there's a few things about Gerrard. Yeah, I feel like Gerrard was very unlucky in the sense that when you would say he was at his top prime, he was always carrying the Liverpool squad. Like, there was never really anyone else around him that was of the same level as him for you guys to truly go on and dominate.
Yeah.
And the other thing, I liken him to a player that I really liked growing up, and that's because of the same loyalty that they shared, and that's Francesco Totti. Like Francesco Totti, baller, but he was loyal to the soil when it came to Roma, and I get that same feeling from Gerrard. That Gerrard was very. I know there was that kind of there was a moment in his career when he was really umming and ahhing about Madrid, and you understand it because it's Madrid. Like virtually every player is going to and ah about Madrid, but he stuck it through and said, "Nope, I'm Liverpool to the day I die." I mean, obviously he went out to America for a bit, but
that wasn't his fault.
He was like, that was like, let me pick up a bit of extra money before I retire, and get a bit of exposure before I retire. And one thing I will say though, he's an awful manager. But hey, I'm not here to sue him today, But
I can't even defend him at the moment.
a little follow-up question. So, and it may be a hard question, it may be an easy question, but you got the choice: Gerrard in his prime or Fowler in his prime. Which one are you bringing back into this current Liverpool team?
Hooks, were you really trying to put me in a situation there? Gerrard's the better player, obviously. The thing is, we're not lacking goals, though. Fowler in his team, though, would clean up. He'd clean up. Like, no disrespect to Nunes and Jota. Some of the chances they miss, like especially Nunes, Fowler would gobble those chances up. But at the same time, I look at Szoboszlai in the number 10 position, and I think if Gerrard's playing in that number 10 position, but when Gerrard played in the number 10 with Fernando Torres, that was for me Gerrard at the peak of his power. Crazy. If you put that version of Gerrard in this team now
with Salah,
I think we win everything. I think we win it. We'll become unstoppable because look, I love Szoboszlai, but I'll sit here and I'll tell you Szoboszlai ain't the guy in it. Like he's not the guy. He could become the guy, but he ain't the guy. You see if Gerrard's doing or taking up the same position Szoboszlai's taking up, it's curtains for teams. It's curtains because he's either going to slap it from 25 yards or he's going to put a ball through on a plate for someone else. Plus, he's just going to destroy it. Like it's Gerrard. Fowler would be a madness. Don't get me wrong, but Gerrard in this slot team, where he's not the one carrying all the load, when he could look behind him and see a Virgil van Dijk, a Alisson. Hold on, bro. Trent and Gerrard in the same team. Oh my. Yeah, it's Gerrard, man. It's Gerrard. It's fake. It's fake. It's Gerrard. It's got to be. It's Gerrard, man.
Yeah, just hopefully he doesn't slip again, isn't it? Oh, sorry. My bad. Sorry, Liverpool fans in the chat.
It's cool. I see. I
feel like I've been good this conversation.
No, you have been. I
had to get the little one in there. So look, this is gonna be the final question from me before we do wrap up. And obviously, if anyone in the chat really does want to, I don't know, get Cal to answer a question, send in a super chat. And before he heads out, I'll read them out. Cool. So, what does being a fan mean to you? And could you imagine a world without Liverpool?
Being a fan to me means everything, if I'm going to be honest. Like, I know it's going to sound really sad to anyone who's not a football fan. And you touched on this earlier when you said how you have to support Arsenal a different way. My life kind of revolves around Liverpool to a great extent. Like, obviously, as a content creator, like, this is how bad it's got. Like, my missus has a Liverpool app on her phone, and she'll tell me certain times, like, we can't go out that day because you got a watch long. And I'll be like, are you sure it's not on the Saturday? She's like, no, you got a Sunday game. But I know she hates that. Like, I know for a fact she hates that because she's not a football fan. But that's how far it goes. I've got to shape my life. Like, if Liverpool have got a game, I know that evening I can't make plans. Unless unless it's something major, like it's a kid's birthday or my wife's birthday or mum's or my brother's birthday, I've got to be sorting that game. I've got to cancel things. I've got to move stuff around. my life revolves around football. Again, doing Coppish, I have an income because of football. So to imagine a world without me being a Liverpool fan and a world without Liverpool, I don't even know where my life would be. Like, I grew up playing football. Some of my best friends are from me playing football and speaking about Liverpool, and like Matt and Drift, like we'd never have spoken if it weren't for Liverpool. Like me and Matt met at a barbershop before we started doing content, and we hit it off before we even knew that we were content creators. So like without Liverpool, it's gonna sound really like religious, but without Liverpool, I don't know what my life would be like. I love Liverpool, I love football so much, and being a fan, it's an honor. And look, being a fan's tough as well, especially a content creator fan. But I wouldn't swap it, man. And as I said, my dream one day is one day I finish content and I'm sitting down on the sofa with a cold apple juice, my kids and my missus there, and we just watch a football game. Like, I'm a simple man, bro. You see them things there, that's all I live for, man.
I hear that, and I imagine you can't. Yeah, well, not imagine. It's like you don't want there to be a world where Liverpool just doesn't exist.
No, I can't, because but that's half of my personality gone. Like, it's half my personality gone. Like, what? As you said, brother, I walk into a room full of strangers. What am I going to speak about? What's the icebreaker?
Yeah, yeah.
What's the icebreaker?
No, it is true. It is true. It is true. Well, all right. I mean, that was a. I like that.
Nah, bro, this is a fantastic concept, man. I think, again, I'm not going to tell you how to run your channel, obviously, but if you can do this on a regular, man.
We got another one happening at 5:30. So
Perfect.
so yeah,
Perfect.
I'm yeah, but I like this. These like little conversations, you know. I get to learn a bit more about you. I get to understand more about you as like a Liverpool fan, and you know, hopefully that will kind of, when you know I become famous enough to jump on your channel, you know, it'll give me you know, all of the
speak anyway. You know, I'm without even going into too much detail. Yesterday, literally, me and Matt were speaking about you on the phone. Positive things, by the way. Nothing. Nothing. Positive, very positive things. So yeah.
But yeah, no, I am gonna, because like I said at the start, like I appreciate just through seeing it myself, through like people joining my streams and asking me kind of like questions that don't necessarily revolve around the topics I'm streaming about, or if I'm doing a watch along the game and stuff like that. It made me realize that, you know, each of us have our own community of people, and a lot of our communities actually bleed over with each other. So why not kind of, I guess, shed a bit more light on the fan themselves, because people don't just follow Coppish because of Liverpool. There's loads of Liverpool creators. Do you know what I mean? They follow Coppish because they like all of you guys. So yeah, maybe Matt and Drifty might want to do one as well. You know what I mean? We can run something up. We can run something up. But I am gonna end it there, people. Thank you for giving me your time, Cal. I do appreciate it,
bro. Pleasure. Thanks for inviting me on, man. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we're gonna cook, man. We're gonna cook.
100%.
We're gonna make it happen. We're gonna make it work. Obviously, people. Team Coppish, their channel is in the title. Make sure that you are subscribing if you're not already. Make sure you're liking up all their content. Make sure you're subscribing to my channel. You know, hopefully with the more support I do get, I'll be able to do more cool things like this. You know, I got loads of ideas, and I'm always trying to think of something different to kind of bridge the gap between myself and other content creators. So yeah, thanks for stopping by. Make sure you're liking the video on the way out, just so it, I guess, gives the highest chance of more people being able to watch it on playback. And yeah, I'll catch you next time. Peace.